Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Thursday, March 24th, 2016, around 6:59 in the morning, Billerica, Massachusetts. It's very going to be a mix of sun and clouds today, only about 41, 42 degrees, cool, but tomorrow's supposed to be warm but with rain. Some news to report: the Boston Celtics beat the Toronto Raptors by the score of 91-79 last night, 3 in a row by the Green. They're getting back into the position of getting one of the top seeds in the Eastern Conference. And also, Boston Bruins lost their fourth game in a row when they dropped to the New York Rangers by the score of 5-2. Bruins not looking good. They've played the Panthers tonight on NESN. And that's about it on news. My first video blog subject of the day is the continuation of the top 50 greatest TV game shows of all time. Today I've reached from number 20 to number 11, the fourth in a 5-part series. And here they are. Number 20 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, High Rollers. High Rollers was a great game show that ran in the 1970s with Alex Trebek from 1974 through 1976, and again from 1978 to 1980 on NBC. This was Alex Trebek's first big game show in the United States. He had a big afro hairstyle, and every move is a gamble, and every roll could be your last. And it was a great game show, High Rollers. It was revived in 1987 for about a year in syndication with Wink Martindale as host. Number 19 on this list of the greatest game shows of all time, Name That Tune. Name That Tune was big in the 1950s with several different hosts. Probably the most famous Name That Tune ran from 1974 through 1981 in syndication, hosted by Tom Kennedy, produced by Ralph Edwards, and they had Kathy Lee Gifford sing. It was an awesome game show. It was revived in 1984 for a year. Jim Lane hosted it. Number 18 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, I've Got a Secret, another great panel game show by Goodson Todman that lasted from 1952 through 1967 on CBS. Gary Moore hosted it for the first 12 years, and then it was Steve Allen. It was revived in 1972 in syndication, and in 1976 for summer run on CBS with Bill Cullen as host. And also it was revived on cable a couple of times. And I've Got a Secret is a panel and a contestant would have to discover what kind of secret it was, and sometimes it was a fun secret or an unusual secret. Number 17 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, The Joker's Wild. The Joker's Wild lasted for many, many years in the 1970s and 1980s, produced by Barry and Ann Wright. Jack Barry hosted it for about 12 years until he passed away, and then it was Bill Cullen who hosted it for the final 2 years in syndication. It was also on CBS. It was revived in 1990 by Pat Finn. And it was a question and answers game show, a fast-paced one. Winners would face off against the devil, and if you hit 3 jokers, you could win the game. Joker! 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 Number 16 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, Deal or No Deal, which ran on NBC for about 4 seasons in prime time, and then had a 2-year syndication run. Howie Mandel hosted it. It was about a contestant would grab a box and would have to eliminate one at a time. This was like a kind of a elements of Press Your Luck and Treasure Hunt, and it was, they would have to take a deal or no deal. They could potentially win $1 million. Number 15 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, Concentration, classic Concentration. It was an awesome game show, lasted many years. Hugh Downs hosted it, also some other hosts were Art James, Bob Clayton, Jack Nas, and Alex Trebek. It ran on NBC for about 14 years, syndication for about 7 years, and it was revived in the 80s and 90s with Alex Trebek as host, and was a fun game show. Number 14 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, The Dating Game, which was produced by Chuck Barris, and it first made the year 1965, lasted about 17 years. Its first run in ABC and syndication with Jim Lane as host, and then it was revived many times in the 1980s and 1990s with Elaine Joyce and Jeff McGregor and Chuck Lorre and Brad Sherwood as hosts. It was a bachelor or a bachelorette getting 3 potential dates, and it was a very funny show, funny game show kind of. Chuck Barris used some elements of reality television into the game show genre, and he also injected youth into it. Number 13 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, The Pyramid. The $10,000, $20,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 Pyramid, produced by Bob Stewart. First ran in 1973 with Dick Clark as host. It was on CBS and ABC and syndication. Dick Clark hosted it on and off for about 15 years. It was like kind of a time password type of game show, and then the bonus one was trying to get up to the pyramid for a possible payoff of $100,000. Number 12 on this list of the greatest television game shows of all time, Hollywood Squares. Hollywood Squares was on the air in 1966 with Peter Marshall as host. It was produced by Hedda Quigley Productions, and it was a tic-tac-toe game show with 9 celebrities, and they had funny questions, bluff questions, and the object of the game is to get 3 stars connected together up and down or diagonally, and it was one of the longest running game shows in NBC history. Even spawned some primetime and syndicated versions and a Las Vegas version in 1980. And Hollywood Squares was revived a few times. In 1983, one was merged with Match Game for the Match Games Hollywood Squares Hour. 1986 was revived in syndication for about 3 years with John Davison as host, and again in 1998 for about 6 years with Tom Bergeron as host. Some of the celebrities who appeared regularly on the Hollywood Squares over the years were Rosemary, Wally Cox, Abby Dalton, Cliff Arquette as Charlie Weaver, George Gobel, Jim J. Bullock, Joan Rivers, and some of the most famous center squares was Paul Lynde and Whoopi Goldberg. And 11 on this list to end it right now is The Newlywed Game. This game show started in 1966 with Bob Eubanks as a host, and 4 married couples, married less than a year, appeared on game shows, and Bob would answer questions that were funny, and it injected a lot of comedy and also a little more of reality television. And Newlywed Game was a hit on ABC for about 8 seasons, and it went into syndication for 3 years, revived many times, 1985 through 1989. Bob returned as host until 1988 when he was replaced by Paul Rodriguez. It was revived in 1996 in syndication with Gary Krogner as host for a year, and then Bob Eubanks returned for 2 more years, and then it was a GSN original for years with first Connie Wilson as host and Sherry Shepherd. And they have the urban legend of Where's the weirdest place you made whoopee? And that was an episode back in 1977. That's about it on this. I'll be back later. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google Plus with 2 more video blogs. One will be about New England cable news, and the third and final video blog of the night will be about former WCVB co-anchor of the 6 p.m. news, Natalie Jacobson. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Budding guy. Molly Rosenblatt of WCCO accent has nice legs. Elizabeth Hutt, so stunning. She's the best. Amy Swansea rocks. She's got nice legs as well. Barbara Gibbs of ABC 11 has that sweet southern accent, and she is so stunning. And in the words of Sean Lucia, get out. Don't forget Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. Last call for questions for the Ask Rich video blog, which will be in Easter Day. Goodbye, everybody.